If you want to be successful, you've got to be creative and understand how you can stand out and appeal to your target audience. Right, everybody, welcome to the video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing some live product research. I don't know how long I'm going to go for, probably at least 30 minutes, maybe up to 45 minutes to an hour. We'll just see if we find anything interesting. I'm going to be using a tool called Helium 10. If you don't use Helium 10 already, we think it's the best tool overall for Amazon. And we do have some exclusive codes so you can get 50% off your first month, or you can get 10% off every single month if you think you're going to use it long term. So the codes are in the description down below, and there's also a link, but here you can see the Honest 10 and the Honest 50. I'd recommend getting Helium 10 if you're serious about selling on Amazon. It's absolutely amazing for so many different things. If you're new to the channel, my name's Alex. I'm one half of the Honest Entrepreneurs. We're currently growing our own Amazon business, and we're trying to give you honest insights into the world of Amazon FBA. We know that there's a lot of nonsense out there on how to do Amazon and all that stuff, with people just trying to shove courses down your throat. So the idea of our channel is to give you actual honest insights into what we're doing and what's happening with our own business, and to try and share a bit of the learnings that we've got along the way. Alright, so let's get into it. Today I'm going to be using Black Box. There's a lot of different ways that you can do product research. One of the easiest ways is honestly just to use Black Box from Helium 10. It allows you to, change all of these filters up here that I've already selected. So some of the basic things that we need to be looking at is your categories. Now, people often ask, what are the best categories to sell in? There's a lot of different sub-niches within these categories, so it's a difficult question to answer, but I've selected a few random ones: arts and crafts, baby, home and kitchen, office products, patio loading on, and blah, blah, blah. I've selected a few categories. You can pick and choose what you look at. Just be aware that if you are going into things like electronics or supplements and stuff like that, just be aware of what you need to do to actually be able to sell in those specific categories when you're doing your research. So the next thing is I'm going to filter it by monthly revenue. So I don't really want to see anything less than $15,000. We don't really want to launch anything personally below that. And then maximum, I've put $70,000. You can leave that uncapped if you want. Price between $30 and $75. Below $30, you get, it starts to get a little bit difficult, making the profit margins, making the PPC and all that sort of stuff. Review count, don't care. I'm not going to put a maximum there. I'll go into that a little bit later in the video. And then review rating is actually one that I do play around with quite a bit. Sometimes I don't mind, but for this video, I don't want to see anything over 4.5 because generally I want to see some things that I've got areas for improvement. So those are the basic filters that I use. I'm also going to put in here a variation count max of 3, basically because I don't want to see things that I've got like 15 variations, like sizes and colors and all of that stuff, because it's kind of hard to compete with that as a new seller. So I'm going to hit search and let's see what it throws up. So I'm just going to do this, I'm just going to go through. I'm going to try and look at a lot of different things. Some things I just won't bother looking at, but others I'm just going to see if it catches my eye. So toner cartridge, stuff like that, I'm not really interested in. I don't want to sell things that are probably dominated by big brands and stuff like that. So this is a bottles breast milk starter set. All right, so let's take a look at this. So baby is an interesting one because it's really, really like competitive in some parts, but overall it's just a massive niche. Now, one of the things you have to consider when you're looking at baby products is how much your product liability insurance is going to be. You basically now you need to get all of your business and your liability insurance in order, and sometimes some baby products, if they're particularly sort of like risky, can be quite expensive. So what am I looking at when I look at this, right? The first thing that I want to kind of understand is like, obviously, what is it? What niche does it fall under? But I'm starting to think straight away, like, who is buying this type of product? Now, obviously with this, it's quite easy. It's probably going to be new mums. Maybe a dad is buying it for his wife or something like that. But there's all these different things that I'm trying to absorb. Now, one of the things that I look at very closely is the quality of the listing. So why that's really important when you're doing your product research is because you have to be able to imagine that you can come into the niche and you can compete with these people. So this, for instance, the quality of the listing is really high. I think this is probably a pretty well-established brand. So it says here, Parents Best for Babies Award. I'd imagine this is a pretty decent brand. But what you can see here, this is actually an example of an amazing listing. Like all of the products, they're genuine products. That they're not Photoshop. They're not all 3D renders. It's got nearly 5,000 reviews. Like I said before, that I'm not too bothered about reviews, but obviously you kind of have to take that into context. So what I want to kind of look at now is, I'm not overly impressed with this because this looks like it's a well-established brand. It's probably going to be quite difficult for me to compete with.
and I'm not a new mum, so there's a few things here that I'm not really keen on. So just for the sake of the video, I'm gonna go back and gonna look at something else. So what we got here, we've got a waterproof, sunproof golf cart cover. Let's have a look at this. So all the time when I'm looking at this stuff, I'm not just thinking of this as an individual product, right? I'm thinking about the person behind this. I'm thinking about the avatar that would be looking at this. So obviously this is somebody that plays golf and they own a golf cart, I guess. Or is it maybe, I don't know, is it people, you know, like hotels and stuff perhaps, like that own, you know when they pick you up with your suitcases and stuff. So what I want to look at then is I want to try and find the main keyword for this, right? So I'm thinking straight away about the quality. It's not too bad. It's not crazy low. It's not crazy high. But what I want to do is I want to find the main keyword. So waterproof, sunproof golf cart cover. So the reason that we do this is once you find a product, right, that has got good demand, which if we're looking on Black Box, they should all have good demand because we're putting in those minimum numbers. The key parts of product research is finding demand, finding a way to differentiate, and then making it work economically. So those are the main things. Like, people often overcomplicate it, but if you can find something where there's demand, if you can find a way to stand out, and then you can make the economics work, the economics, whatever you want to call it, if you can get a good enough ROI and a good enough margin, then you can confidently, you know, come into that niche. So there's a few different sort of caveats to all of that stuff, but the reason that I'm trying to find the main keyword is because I want to see roughly how many sales all of these people are doing. So I want to ignore these top sponsored ones, and I want to see really like what are people doing organically. So so using Helium 10 again, I'm just going to come up here and I want to look at the overall sort of, I want to look at the overall niche and kind of see where we're looking in terms of revenue. So what we can see is this top one here is doing 20,000 a month, 17,000, 45,000, 304. So the spread of revenue is pretty decent. Like, it's nothing crazy. I don't actually think this is the main keyword because it says search volume NA. So what I want to do is I want to find the top one. So the one that's doing the most revenue here is this one, right? So the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to start delving in more and more to the actual keyword. So it looks like this is the top seller. Again, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the, you know, the quality of the listing. It's not too bad. It's pretty good. And then what I want to do is I want to come down here and I want to hit keywords. So the reason that I'm doing this is because when you're doing your product research, you want to always be thinking about the keywords behind the searches. So, you know, what are people looking for? What are they trying to find? So if you hit that button, it'll load up Cerebro like this, right? And then what we want to do from here is we want to filter this by organic rank. So what this is going to do is it's going to filter all of these keywords for where this product ranks between number 1 and number 15. So we're going to see where this product is getting its sales, right? So if we come down, it's now filtered that. And if we click this, it's going to filter this by search volume. So you can see here that the top one is golf cart cover, right? So another little hack that you can do, well, not hack, but it's just the feature, is you can click on here and you can see the search volume history. Now, this is very important because what you need to be doing is you need to make sure, you know, that this is not a seasonal product. It's not just going to die off in the winter or in the summer. So what you can see here is that it kind of has these peaks and troughs, but the lowest it ever really gets is about 10,000. So overall, the demand is good for this. So the demand is really good. All year round, it looks like there's a decent demand. And don't forget that this is just the main keyword, right? This is just golf cart cover. So if we actually look in a little bit further, you can start to see some of the more specific keywords. You know, golf cart covers, obviously just plural, but then you've got golf cart cover 4-passenger club car. That's obviously a very specific one. Outdoor camo pack cover. I think that's probably something different. But you can start to see, yeah. So it looks like these main keywords here at the top. So I'm going to click this one, because this is going to take me now to the actual main keyword. You remember before I didn't really, I don't think I was looking at the main keyword. So now what we can see here is if we scroll down again and if we have a look at the overall niche, we're just trying to check, you know, is there a sufficient demand here? But whilst we're doing this, I'm starting to think, okay, so who's buying this? This is golfers. And then I'm starting to think, you know, what other products perhaps the golfers look at. Because if I see a bit of an opportunity here, what I'm then going to start to think is, all right, can I create a golf brand? You know, if I see multiple opportunities within the golfing niche, what we need to be thinking is, can we then go on and create a golf brand? So again, so this looks like now we've found the main keyword, right? So this is golf cart cover. So these are the steps that you need to be taking, checking out the keywords, find the main keyword, and then, you know, doing these steps basically. So it looks like here we've got a nice range of prices, which is pretty cool, because this one is $68.99 and it's doing $95,000 a month, right? So let's click on this one. Let's have a look. So this has got 3 variations. It looks like they're just color variations. If you remember, I filtered it to give us a max variation, right? One of the things with this that I'm looking at, right, is it's ticking the demand box. So now I'm starting to think, okay, if I was to launch this, how could I stand out? So there's a few different ways that you can start to think about that, and you can start to think about how you can actually stand out and differentiate yourself. So the first one is through your listing. Like if I'm looking at this niche and I'm thinking, oh man, all of these listings, they're terrible, then I'm starting to get a bit excited, because I'm thinking, well, if I can come in here with a really great product and I can make an amazing listing, then I'm going to stand out really well. So that ticks the differentiation box, that ticks the standing out box. Because a lot of people always talk about differentiation, but really what we're saying is, can you actually stand out? So one way that you can stand out is just through an amazing listing. So overall, from the listings that I've seen in this niche, they're pretty good, right? Like this is pretty decent. It looks very professional. Yeah, it's pretty good. So then the next step is, are there any major complaints within the reviews? Because when we're talking about major differentiation and sort of standing out, you know, this is kind of what we want to look at. So a bit of a red flag for me is that this has got 4.8 out of 5 over nearly 4,000 reviews. So this is pretty crazy, right? So this is a seriously heavy duty cover, excellent cover, works great. I'm still trying to think. It looks like, yeah, I guess people, it's not always for golf, right? Maybe people just use it to get about if they live in a caravan park or whatever. But this, at this point, is a bit of a red flag for me, right? Because even if we go back here, if we go back, the revenue spread is really great. But what I'm kind of seeing is this top one has got amazing reviews. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that I would completely disregard it, but I don't want to spend too much time on this one particular product. But just to give you an idea of what I would do next is, I would go through all of these listings. I would go through perhaps some of the ones that don't really have, so this one's 17K, it's got 4.3. So what I would do with this one is I would come in here and then I'll kind of understand, like, what is it that they're doing wrong. So you can see straight away that this listing just doesn't look as good. It's, you know, there's not really any real photos. It's all sort of photoshopped. Like, look at the state of this. This is obviously a Chinese competitor that's come in here, and you know, they didn't launch too long ago. So this here down here is the Bsr graph. So the Bsr stands for bestseller rank. So you can see if you zoom out into all time, so this comes with the Helium 10 Chrome extension. If you zoom out here to all time, you can see here that this launched in September roughly last year. And you can see at the beginning, the Bsr is quite high, which means it's not really selling very well. And as the Bsr gets lower, it means it's selling more and more. And so you can see here now it's started to do quite well. A sales rank of 8,000 is pretty good. But the reason that I'm looking at this is because I want to see how long has it been around and how quickly did it come and start to do well. Because I think this one is doing, so we can see here, this one is doing about 500 sales a month. You know, this doesn't actually look like too bad of an opportunity overall, apart from it's not waterproof. So I covered my golf cart the other day and I received this cover. It rained the next day. When I moved the cover, the seats, steering wheel, they were all soaked. So obviously that sucks. Lightweight, not the best, does the job, excellent cover, wouldn't recommend. But what you can start to see here, right, even with this as an opportunity, is think about the niche. The niche is, well, this is what you would have to dive really into, is you would really need to understand who is buying this, because on the surface, this is like, oh, it's people that play golf. But what you really need to understand, like, is it though? Because maybe it's people that just, they want it outside their house. You know, if they live on a trailer park, or if they're older and they want to sort of get about. So you really always need to be thinking when you're doing your research about who is buying this product, and then you need to use them and work backwards to understand their pains, understand what it is they're looking for. So on the surface, it seems obviously like golf owners, but to summarize this, and I don't want to take this one any further and just spend half an hour on this one, but I actually think this is overall, it doesn't look like too bad of an opportunity. Some of the things that I would be looking for to look a little bit further, again, how can we stand out? How can we improve the product? It looks like some of these cheaper ones, you know, they're a bit naff. They're not really waterproof in some cases. These top ones, these bad boys, they're probably going to be quite difficult to compete with. You know, but you can see how they're managing to charge a much higher price because, you know, they just seem like they're way higher quality. So this is another little caveat. This is kind of like a different product now. If you look, like this is actually when you're driving around playing golf, I guess, when it's raining. So again, this is almost a completely different product, but we can have a look to see when this ranked. So this has been online for a while. But yeah, this is just an example of a little niche that you can find. You know, you might not have known that golf cart covers existed before. It ticks the demand box. So for me, the demand here is great. Like the keyword volume is great. There's people that are doing pretty good money. It's like this one here. I mean, this is a sponsored. Let's have a look. Like this is doing 20k. I mean, it's 104 bucks. So what you need to do at this point is just really get to know this niche, get to know who is looking for this product, get to know what the existing products, look at their positive reviews, look at their negative reviews, understand their branding. Are they doing the branding really well? Is there a way that you could come in with you know, a new golf type brand and just really blow them away in terms of branding? But this is an example of, like, this is a little seed that I've found, and you know, you need to just do a bit more research and delve into it. But I'm going to go back to Black Box. I hope that kind of gave you an idea of how I would look a bit further at this other stuff. But yeah, I don't want to dwell on that for too long. This was another one that I actually had a quick look at these recently. So this is a training mask, right? So I guess I don't know whether this is kind of related to COVID. It's not. I think it's more for elevation, right? But again, the steps that I'm going to take is I'm going to be absorbing all of the information that I can. I'm going to be thinking about the listing quality. I'm going to be kind of thinking, all right, you know, how good is it? Because if I come on here and I see that this is doing nearly 500 sales a month. How long has it been around? Okay, it's been around for a few years. Kind of went a bit crazy there. Maybe it went out of stock. But then I'm starting to like look at the surrounding products. I'm thinking, okay, like, you know, does this seem like something that I could stand out in? Because basically what you're trying to find is, you're not really trying to find a product. You're trying to find a niche. You're trying to find a niche that you can create a brand and then a range of products within that niche. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do workout training mask. An easier way to do this is just hit keywords. And through this way, we're going to find the main keyword like we did before. So I'm going to let this load, and then we're going to go organic rank 1 to 15 again. And we're going to hit apply filters. And then we're going to search by search volume. Okay, so training mask looks like is the top keyword. So again, I'm thinking, who's the avatar? This is people that work out. Is it everybody that works out? Probably not. This is probably for pretty hardcore trainers. I think this is, you know, if you really want to sort of, you know, increase your sort of like how hard your training is. I think this is for. I think footballers use these to train at altitude and stuff like that to sort of mimic the effects. But so now I found the main keyword. Again, what I want to do is I want to look at the revenue spread. You know, is it just 1 or 2 people that are absolutely killing it, or is there a nice spread? So here we go. We got this top one, 30k, pretty good. Next one down, 25, 16, 18. We got this guy, 10, 4. All right, so the revenue spread is not too bad. What I do like to do here is if you click on this and you go to hide sponsored results, that really helps, because then you get to see organically, and then you can filter this by the top ones. So this one you see, so this is not actually the same thing, but let's have a look at this. This is different as well. Different. So it looks like this is the top dog. So this is doing $30,000. So I want to dive into this one and just take a little bit of a closer look. So these are all the steps that we're taking, right? We find the main keyword, we assess the demand, We understand how competitive these things are. If we see that we think we can probably come in and beat the competition, like I'm looking at this, and again, it's a pretty good listing. Yeah, these look like real photos. I like that. So yeah, pretty good listing overall. Looks quite good. I was just going to say, one of the angles I was thinking to actually stand out in this niche was sort of, you know, if you want to have like a camouflage one, because this looks pretty badass, doesn't it? So yeah, this is the top listing. Let's have a look how long it's been around. It's been around for a few years, so it's ideally you don't want to be going head to head with people that have been around for a long time. But this looks like it's quite well established. It looks like a niche where there's a lot of people sort of involved. So it doesn't mean that I would discount this because, you know, this is a good listing and I don't think I can compete against it. This is where now, you know, the demand's there. The niche is defined. You know, this is like people that are working out, training, probably people that are training kind of like a higher standard maybe. But really all product research comes down to is starting to think about the avatar and starting to think like, okay, I mean, so we know the demand is there. We know there's people looking for these training masks. What is a way that we can stand out and we can bring value to the table? And we can do things a little bit better than these people are doing, and we can start to steal some of their sales. So let's go back to this one. The first and the easiest way to do that is through the reviews. Yeah, so let's go back to this one. Let's take a look at the reviews, because again, this is the easiest way, obviously, to see of ways that you can stand out. So 4.4 out of 5 is pretty good. This would be interesting to me if this was like 4 out of 5, because there would probably be a lot of ways that you can improve. But just know I ordered this product because of the parts. Elevation mask just got jacked up. I went running with it today, and honestly, it was the worst thing imaginable. I've wasted so much. I'm genuinely pissed. It's not as secure as the elevation mask, and it doesn't fit securely. Okay. But one mistake that I see people making at this point is they will read a negative review like this, and they will think, oh, okay, then I just have to make it fit more securely. But you actually have to think about the logistics of that. Like, how would you actually do that? Like, in order to do that, how much research and product development would you need to do to make this fit more? And I'm not saying for sure that it's going to be difficult, but when you're reading these reviews, you have to actually consider, how would I actually do that? Like, do I have enough money to create this from scratch and, you know, fix all of the problems? But it doesn't really seem like there's, you know, overall any like overwhelming things. Like, if we filter this, does not cover the face, Chinese plastic junk, it stinks of chemicals and hurts the bridge of your nose, it fits great. So I mean, it's generally, almost every product on Amazon has negative reviews, right? But what you need to do at this point is just really delve into this. So really delve into this and understand, of these negative reviews, are there reviews that we can fix? Because that's the key point. Everything has negative reviews. It's whether or not you can fix those. So, all right, that one was quite cool, because, you know, this is obviously an interesting niche. If you know these are kind of people that are working out and they're hardcore, like if you take a look back in our video library, you'll see the other week we did a podcast with Ben, a guy called Ben from the UK, and he exited his sports brand. So he started in this way, you know, he launched a couple of products like this, and then it grew into this big sports brand that he went on to sell for millions. So again, all the time, be thinking about the niche, be thinking about the person buying the products. How can I improve it? What can I do in terms of bringing a brand that can stand out in this space? And just go down those steps. So if there was some areas within these reviews that kept coming up in all of these products, I would note them all down, and then I would say, okay, realistically, how can we improve this? And if then I thought, okay, I can speak to a supplier and I can say, look, we need to improve this, this, and this. That's sort of the process and the next steps that you need to be doing. You always need to be sort of improving the product and standing out as much as you can. But I'm going to come back again because I want to fly through these, you know, and I want to get through a few different things. Cooling pad, I've seen these before. I don't want to look at that. So these are always interesting, right? This is probably something I've seen these a lot. These are super competitive. I think I'm probably going to go back, but I'm going to have a quick look. So again, I'm looking at the quality. It's a good listing. You know, these are obviously real photos, very well done. And, you know, 2019 National Parenting Award. I mean, you're 3 years out of date. But so again, we can kind of look at the overall niche here, but I do know this is generally a very, very competitive niche. These have been around for a while. There's a big demand for them. It doesn't mean to say that you can't stand out. Like, the first thing for me that I noticed with this is they all kind of look the same, right? So if you think about mums and if you think about parents, you know, a young mum wants to look stylish. So part of the reason they buy things like this is because obviously it's great functionally for the baby, but also, you know, is there a style element to this? You know, like this one here, look at the amount of variations they've got. So this one has obviously gone down that road of making this a little bit more stylish with the leopard print, would you call it? But yeah, they've got all these different designs. So I mean, here, look, they've even got this one for dad here. It's a bit more neutral. But this is a great example of taking a product that is obviously very functional, but they understand the avatar. So they understand that a mum she wants the baby to be safe. She wants the baby to be comfortable. She wants to be comfortable, but she also wants to look good. So this is, when you're doing your research, this is why it's so important to think about your avatar and think about the person that is buying this stuff, because it'll give you ideas. Perhaps in this niche at one time, people just made plain ones of these, and then other people came around with these more stylish ones, like this one is full on leopard print. See, I love this. I love when these products, you know, they make them stand out with nice designs, and I assume this one is doing pretty well. It's like $60. Yeah, this is doing 7,000 sales a month, so this is absolutely killing it. So whilst you're doing your research as well, another great thing to do is, just because you're not going to sell this particular product, if you see this product is doing really well, start to think about why. You know, like, why is it doing so well? Like, how is the listing made up? Is it good? Because you can get a lot of ideas for your own products, which will help you, you know, with your own product research and stuff. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to keep going. I'm not sure how long I've been going, but I will stick around. So if you're still around, fair play. Okay, let's have a look at this. I actually know someone that's selling one of these, so let's have a look at it. I don't think he's going to watch this video, but I think he started selling one and it didn't do too well. All right, so again, I'm thinking about the avatar. I'm thinking about mums. I'm thinking about what they want. I'm thinking about what they're thinking about when they're looking for this product. You know, they want to be stylish, probably, or they maybe just want to be neutral, whatever. But obviously, this is just grey and black. This makes me laugh when they do this awful Photoshop. So this is like an organizer for the back of a stroller. So let's go through the same steps, right? We're going to look at baby stroller, organizer, and actually, no, I keep doing that, but we can just go to the keyword section here. And what we can do is filter organic rank 1 to 15 again. Same steps, always the same, always the same. Right, and then we can go search volume and we can filter. So it looks like this is the top one. So Nuna, stroller accessories, stroller organizer with cup holder. I'm going to go for this one because it's a bit more specific. Like, it's very specific, right? And then when I'm looking at the overall niche, my brain is firing away. I'm thinking, okay, how can I stand out? The first thing I'm seeing is they all look black. They all look boring. Like, this is incredibly boring. All boring. This one's a bit fancier, a little bit different. Again, like, just so boring. Like, for me, this is still kind of where the opportunity lies with Amazon. The opportunity for me still lies in Amazon because, you know, it's just, most of the stuff on here is so boring. It's presented in a boring way. It's a boring product. They don't do the branding very well. I mean, like, let's look at this, man. This is crazy. So this is the top one. So this is Mom Cozy. They're doing 362,000. So if we think about this, I don't think then this is the main keyword. So I will try and find the main keyword. But look at this revenue spread, right? 25K, 75K, 91. Like, this one was the one that stood out to me because it looked different. So I'm going to take a look at that in a minute. This is doing 100K, 27K, 57K, 170. Right. So again, demand is there. The demand is there. Now, a lot of people might say, like, oh, this is ridiculously competitive. Like, look at, they've got 8,000 reviews. don't let that put you off, because don't let that put you off, because it's not what is important. Like, what is important is how can we stand out. If you think about it, like every niche that exists that has a lot of demand, there's already existing players in that niche, right? So if you want to be successful, you've got to be creative and understand how you can stand out and appeal to your target audience better than the rest of the people. So you might not be able to find a way to do that, but what I would say is just don't be put off by big reviews and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, if the demand is too much, you need to consider whether or not your budget can afford it. But like this one, so this has got 9 reviews. And again, I don't bang on about reviews a lot, because I think people really overestimate them. But so this is, weirdly, it's only $14. It looks like, is it a new release? Bsr Graph is taking the time to load. So I mean, look at this, man. Like, this is all like what I see all the time. It's just like, it's just boring. It's like boring. It's photoshopped. You know, this is kind of Amazon. Is it's a lot of listings, but like this is really new, right? And it looks like they started the price at like $20, and then they reduced it to $13.99, and now it's selling a lot better. But you know, this is, I mean, it's a classic, just pretty crap Chinese, probably thrown up there. But to go back to this main page again, you know, I'm just looking through and I just see the same thing, just black. And maybe mums just want a black stroller, right? Maybe they don't want anything sort of different, but this is where you have to get creative, and the way that you get creative is by understanding your avatar. So again, I'm gonna leave this one here, but you know, have a look into niches like this and just think like, if I was a mum, or ask somebody that's a mum, you know, go to the research, go to where you can do some research, look at the Facebook groups, look at Reddit groups, look at all of that. You know, then start to actually, you know, start to understand how you can stand out here. You might not be able to find a way, like I said, but maybe you can. All right, so let's go back. Let's have a look at another's. So I know, you know, a lot of these videos when people do this product research, they try and make it sound as if, oh my god, I found this amazing product, but like it's never going to be that in a 40-minute video, because there's a lot more to it than this. It's like, you obviously have to go away and understand all the profit margins and all of that sort of stuff. So I don't want to try and trick you into thinking that in a 40-minute video we're going to find this like mind-blowing product, but I'm trying to teach you the fundamentals and the concepts that you need to know. So classic coded phone. I'm gonna have a look at this actually, you know. So this is a classic coded phone for hearing impaired telephone for seniors. Okay, so the reason I really like some stuff like this sometimes is because basically, like, you know, this is a very clear demographic, right? Like, you don't have any, there's no mystery around who is buying this sort of stuff. So this is obviously for hearing impaired seniors. Now, if you think of that from a brand perspective, you could look into that and how many products are there that hearing impaired seniors they need, and is there a product that currently exists? Sorry, not a product, a brand that currently exists that just does ranges of products for these types of people. Now, this isn't a bad listing. It's not too bad. It's not amazing. Let's have a look at the Bsr Graph again. Okay, so it's not been around for too long. It looks like it went out of stock and it's doing okay. Let's have a look at how much it's doing. I can't really remember from the main screen. I mean, the one thing that I'm seeing here is like, yeah, they all look pretty similar. I mean, you've got some of these other designs, but the branding's not that impressive for me. You know, it's not too great. All right, so this is doing 22k, so not to be grumbled at. Yeah, it's got some EBC, pretty average. It's not that great. It's not bad. It's not terrible. Well, let's have a look at this, right? So this is 4.2. So what this means is there's probably quite a lot of terrible aging parent with dementia. So that gives you an idea. Maybe it's not actually. Maybe it's not the old people buying this. Maybe this is actually for you know, like if your mum's going deaf or something, like you buy it as a present or whatever. So you've got to think about the avatar. Phone with phantom ringer. Didn't work. See, look, I was so excited to receive this old-timey phone for my 97-year-old grandmother. 97-year-old mother. I took it to the installation. The phone didn't work. It wouldn't receive a call. And so again, you got to think, like, how would you actually fix that? Possible chemicals. Okay, so this is something that you just have to put on there. A lot of people complain about ringer defective. Phone quit working. Worked fine for 1 year. It's just a cheap red phone. So again, you'd have to dive in here. You'd have to see what these problems are, and then you would have to see, you know, how can I fix them? But again, I don't think this is super high competition. I think if somebody wanted to create a really nice brand around this, you could. Another tip is also to kind of come to their. So this looks like, all right, this is just a sort of home goods brand, but what's to stop you, you know, doing your research? So think of this as an avatar. Think, you know, hearing impaired, or people shopping for their parents or grandparents that are hearing impaired, you know, seniors, and do more research into that. So use this as a starting point, and then think, all right, how many other things around this are these types of people buying? And that's where you start to get all of these different ideas, right? And honestly, well, first of all, congrats if you made it this far in the video, but this for me, like, I can genuinely log on to Amazon, start with helium-10, and probably find 10 things in an hour that I think are interesting, that I think we could potentially do. So when you're thinking that, you know, you're struggling to find a product, it's because you're not really thinking deeply. You're not thinking about the avatar. You're not thinking about what they need. You're not thinking of all the different ways you can differentiate. You can differentiate visually. You can differentiate, you know, by actually changing the product. Once you get used to thinking about all those things, you will spot so many more opportunities. But the main thing is like 2 years ago when I was looking at this, I might have just been thinking it's a telephone, and I wouldn't have thought, okay, it's a telephone for seniors, for hearing impaired, for their kids or their grandparents that are buying this for them. And then I wouldn't think, okay, what else are they buying? What are they looking for? What's the problem? What's the pain? Because that's all it's about, basically, e-commerce and products and all of that stuff. So let's do one more, and then let's call it a day. So portable wash bag. All right, this seems interesting. Scrubber. Oh, that's cool. I like the name. Scrubber portable wash bag, hand washing machine for hotel and travel. Light and small, eco-friendly. Okay. So the listing is pretty decent. I get it. So you put your clothes. Wow, that is small, isn't it? That's cool. 5 steps to free laundry. So it's like a port. That's really cool. What a cool product that is. So it's when you just put all the stuff in there. So again, I mean, it's been around for a while. One thing that you'd have to look at is, you know, is this patented? Because like it says here, join 300,000 Stroller bag users worldwide. This seems to me like maybe it's something that's patented or something, but let's have a look at the keywords. But again, thinking about like who's buying this, why are they buying it, what's their problem, what currently exists, what's the problem with what currently exists. All of these things will start to give you ideas whenever you look at all of this stuff, you know. So you should be finding tons of ideas, and then all you need to do after that is make sure the economics and everything work, you know. So as I said before, so manual washing machine, so it only ranks 15 for that, so I don't think that's actually the main keyword. So this one is 8th. Hand washing machine, wash bag. Maybe this one, wash bag, is like the closest. No, this is a bit different, isn't it? I think this might be like a kind of like custom. Let's have a look at this top one, manual washing machine. Yeah, this is what I was expecting to see, this kind of thing where I think this might be an actual custom product that somebody's like had designed from kind of scratch. But again, like, you know, it might lead you to looking at something like this, which is all-in-one hand wash bag machine. All right. This is different, isn't it? Kind of a cool listing. The listing looks good. So yeah, again, just take the same steps. Understand who's looking at this stuff. Understand that, you know, how the overall niche is, what the demand's like. Find the main keyword. Is that Photoshop? I don't know. That one's quite a good. Yeah, I think that's real. This again might be another opportunity that you could look at and see, who's using it. It's people that are camping. All right, so I'm going to look at all of the products that people, when they're camping, they buy, and I'm going to make a big list, and then I'm going to go down every single one of them, and I'm going to look at all of the points that I can improve. I'm going to see if there's a way I can bring an interesting brand into the space. As soon as you start thinking like this, there's 1,000,001 ideas. So if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I'm going to end it here because my back is hurting from sitting. I'm going to go out and get some exercise. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you an insight into how we think when we're doing product research. This is kind of why we think there's so many opportunities, because once you start to think a little bit outside of the box, and you stop just thinking in these traditional ways of, okay, how much is that? Okay, I'm going to look on Alibaba, and then as soon as you start thinking in a bit of a different way, as soon as you start thinking about the avatar and the customer, things just get 100 times easier. You start to see different ideas, but you have to follow those fundamental steps of checking the keywords, identifying the top keyword, looking at the overall niche. Once you get to that point, you've seen how quick I can go through these products now. Once you get to that point, you're going to go through product after product after product, add them to a spreadsheet, contact suppliers, run all the numbers, and then you're going to find something. You're going to find something that you can start a brand with and start scaling and expanding. And one day you can be one of these brands. You can be one of these brands selling on Amazon, doing a load of sales and making a load of money and growing your business, and then selling it and doing whatever you want with your time. So I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, all of that jazz. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.